I told you we were going to talk tonight with people who have seen all the ups and all the downs of both opposition and government when it comes to their own careers and shadow ministries and leader of this and leader of that. And of course, it is none other than the carryover champs that are none other than Bronwyn Bishop, single carryover champ. Sorry, my love. And of course, she gave me that look. And Stephen Conroy, he always gets close, but he's always here to help. So, the really obvious and boring question was, what did you think of the interview? Second most boring question is, what do you think of the shadow ministry? So let's get to an interesting question as number 3. What's your advice to people who didn't maybe get what they wanted today or even in the government reshuffle? And how do you, if you are out in the cold, bring yourself into the centre of things? Bronwyn, what is the advice for maybe those people who are being pushed into more mentor role than minister role or shadow minister role? What do you think?
Well, the first thing is you've got to take it as it is, and then you've got to take the opportunities to have an impact and carve out a role for yourself and what you can do. For me, I went from the highs of being thought to be the next Prime Minister, the leader of the opposition, then Prime Minister, and preferred over Paul Keating and John Hewson, to coming into the Parliament and seeing the change of leadership, and I didn't perhaps handle the first of that the best way. But nonetheless, you just get in there and then you pitch and you work hard.
Yeah.
And find opportunities.
And look, again, I know that I'm being a little bit, again, I always talk about not happy talk. Again, I understand how eventually, once if you're rubbed the wrong way many, many times, then obviously it ends up with the majority of your colleagues at one point in time saying, time to change a leader. But Stephen, again, as one of the joys of you guys is the experience of being on a backbench, into the outer, into the middle, back on the way. What's your advice again to those who either didn't get what they wanted, sideways or maybe up and down?
Look, the thing about politics is everybody gets knocked over during the course of their career. But in politics, the key part is not, how easy it is when you're on the up. It's how you manage when you get knocked over. You stand up, you dust yourself off, just sook a bit and you wander off into a corner and just ignore everybody. Or do you get up, and as you've just said and Bronwyn was saying, you just got to work hard. You've got to re-establish yourself. I personally thought that Jane Hume was one of the most articulate of the front benchers for the opposition over most of the last 2.5 years. Unfortunately, she had what she would think, I'm sure, is a disappointing election campaign. And she's now paid the price and she's on the back bench. But she will apply herself in the Senate and she will be good at what she targets, and she will rebuild her ability to land punches on Labor, and I'm sure she'll be back in the future. What she shouldn't do is go sooking off and thinking, oh, woe is me. You knuckle down, you get back into it. There's plenty of Senate estimates, plenty of parliamentary committees, and plenty of opportunities to do media where she will be able to rebuild her career. Not everyone follows that approach. Some really throw the toys out of the cot. Some say, all positions weren't elected on merit today. At least she's still on the front bench. So I don't know what she's tossing the toys out of the cot over. There are far more disappointed people in the Liberal Party today than Jacinta Price.
Well, look, let's talk about the Jacinta Price of it all. Is that I think, I'd obviously, if I'm making the call, but I'm not making the call, right? Is that I think she's somebody that you want to keep at that highest level of shadow ministry, that being in the shadow cabinet. The silver lining thing is that yes, it's not the highest of positions, but geez, there's some absolute rich pickings, and you both know, to be both asking and answering questions in Senate estimates. Defence procurement in Australia is a shocker. It is a shocker, and if you turn over enough rocks, there's enough moments where you turn that into the rock star moment that absolutely makes the case for promotion undeniable. Am I right, Bronwyn?
Absolutely. She's got every opportunity to shine. And it's interesting, very often when an opposition forms its ministry, there is no shadow cabinet, shadow outer ministry. It is just the shadow ministry.
It's one team.
And it all works together, and that's more usual actually. But Susan's chosen to go this route. But that's no problem for Jacinta. She's got plenty of opportunities.